Aloha. I wanted to make a quick video and expand upon something that I've been wanting to share for some time now. I think I shared a video or some reference of these referencing Michael Jackson and that whole thing, and I don't know, I just wanted to put together this whole thing and talk about some of the Michael Jackson symbolism, pose some questions and some perspectives that are they're regular for me, they're like everyday for me, but they might not be for other people, so I wanted to share them because there's that whole stigma with Michael Jackson that still exists. But how I perceive Michael Jackson and actually understanding, going into his archives and seeing what he was saying in reference to the bigger pictures, you can see that he was totally set up from every angle, and he was speaking to the human population. Obviously, you can see songs like Heal the World, Human Nature, Come Together, like all these songs. They Don't Really Care About Us, Money, Scream, Black or White, Remember the Time. All these songs that are directly locked into people expanding outside of the idea of the mainstream reality. And to know how he was attacked on the one of the most hardcore scales and completely destroyed on so many levels, and yet he still was going to work in sharing the information all the way up into his last moment, to where he was going to go on tour talking about the This Is It tour. And This Is It, what does that mean? Like what do you think that means when he's saying this is it? So there's that. And then I also wanted to share just some other perspectives that I have been thinking about, and these images will trigger what that stream of thought was. But mostly this video I'll get into because I'll stream through or breeze through the other stuff. But really I wanted to get into just Michael Jackson stuff and questioning whether, or posing the questions that he was revealing, like this whole monkey mind reality, this whole occult symbolism, these Illuminati stuff, like whatever you think about whatever, this really boils down to like the destructive intelligence and the creative intelligence, or what do you want to call good and evil or whatever, still all existing within the creator experience as a whole, but to manipulate through alchemy, which is what Michael Jackson was doing with his music and his dance moves and all this stuff. And this is why he was so rich in the hearts and minds of little kids and grown adults. Like it's just the essence. Today's music has nothing close to what Michael Jackson was putting out there, and this is on purpose. He is his own production. He was his own producer. He had his own studio. He has everything. There was his videos being put out there was an event. So I'll get into that in a second. But I really wanted to start by sharing how deep this goes, like, and how the program is basically designed to keep you on the shallow layers of perspective, so the people who are in the system can only send little clues here and there, because there's so much involved in the storyline that you have to find out where this story starts and where it ends on your own. You're in your own way, and it's so complex that if you try to disassemble it, it will fight back in order to keep you from realizing like what what the system's really about. So just as easily as they take black rights back in the day and turn it into civil rights, they don't talk about the essence of the story as a whole, like the fact that lynching existed, the fact that they were burning people, the fact that this system is corrupt at its essence. So the civil rights was actually a doggy treat. So you don't understand what's at the root and the heart of the issue. You don't go into the colonization program. You don't go into the post-Columbian control grid. You don't go into the essence of history. You don't go into the true empowered human space, because you're caught up in the crumb on the crumb cake, or the icing on the cake of the storylines, and never get to the essence. That's what keeps you from realizing what's going on. So the same thing goes for Black Lives Matter and All Lives Matter. They want you to get focused on a particular version of reality, so you don't unveil the actual essence of it all. And then even the double back layer of Black Lives Matter is a disempowered, victimized state of being to begin with, because you're saying Black Lives Matter to who? Like, that means your energy, you matter. It's a victimized program. Like, you matter to a system, to something else. It's a cry for help, when you can also share that we are being systematically destroyed on so many levels, but from an empowered perspective. That's another way to approach it. But to shut everybody up and shut everybody out and shut the true movement that would really challenge the pillars of the system as a whole, then the orchestrated version of reality has to be put out there. So Black Lives Matter is basically the civil rights doggy treat of today, and never going into the colonial program as a whole, never going into the supremacy program, and the never going into that system as a whole, and the eugenics program and the way it's all designed, never going into that. And the music industry, Hollywood, all this stuff is meant to distract you from seeing this. Social media, like, it's expanded itself into your smartphone agenda, the smart technology, smart this is all monkey mind, smart world perspectives that are buying your humanity, and then de-evolving you as a whole, and telling you with the Discovery Channel and National Geographic and Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson and Michio Kaku and Ray Kurzweil and Ancient Aliens and all these professors in the university system as a whole, telling you this is the evolutionary process, telling you that you came from the Big Bang and monkeys and dinosaurs, and now you have a smartphone, and the future is based upon technology. This is what this whole alien agenda is about, and the whole New Age agenda and the secret space program is for you to focus on the so-called powers that be and the program that they have created for you to fall into. So stuff how I see, like the Mandela effect, is a natural occurrence for people tapping into their true memory banks and questioning their reality as a whole and seeing a connection that gets co-opted by CERN. And CERN says, oh, well, we're doing it because we're playing with protons and smashing stuff together, and that's creating tiny black holes. Like, get the fuck out of here with all that garbage. Like, you guys are just doing some nonsense out there trying to make it seem like you're smart or doing whatever. Same thing goes for the globe model as a whole. It's like they create all these billions and millions of miles of we can see galaxies here and there. We can see forms of life. There's a planet made out of all diamond. Maybe there's a planet made out of all cannabis. There's a planet with water on it. We'll get to Mars in 2020. We're going to send a spaceship. This is all distraction. All to make you believe in the system as a whole. Same shit. It's like government cheese in a spacesuit. That's all this is. And they sell it to you with this slick ass perspectives. So this was something I saw on passing on Instagram, a story, and this was the write-up for it. Technology is being embraced by transhumans all over the world, taking evolution into their own hands. They believe they can design an immortal human 2.0 in the near future. This is the separation program, the lack of spirit, the lack of soul essence. Transhumanism and technocracy share a common philosophical base in scientism, or the effectual worship of science. When I was growing up, my father often told me that Andy Warhol once said that he wanted to be a machine, and that it would be a lot easier to be a machine. If something broke, you could just replace it. Even though small wounds and injuries heal, this has not been the case for humans. If something were inherently broken, it would stay broken the rest of our lives. Which relates to another common saying, the only two things in this world that are certain are death and taxes. Ha 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 ha, you fucking asshole. For the transhumanist movement, this is not the case. Transhumanists believe that humankind can evolve beyond its current physical and mental limitations to become superhuman and eventually immortal. One of the most important prominent members of the movement is Zoltan Isvan, founder of the Transhumanist Party and 2016 party presidential candidate. For Isvan, aging and death are the biggest plagues of our time. The party is proposing a transhumanist Bill of Rights that states that it should be illegal to stop research on longevity and eternal rights based on religious and ethical reasons. Many of today's well-known faces in the tech world accompany the movement. Peter Thiel has, like a modern-day King Gilgamesh, stated that it is against human nature not to fight death, and is investing heavily in companies like Methuselah Foundation. He is joined by Larry Ellison, who finds accepting mortality incomprehensible. Google co-founders Larry Page and Sergey Brin, as well as Mark Zuckerberg, are also investing in ways to extend human life. That's how they sell this shit to you. They soften this bullshit up, and then you just suck it in and say, oh, well, this is awesome. Because you've been manipulated, because all of your teachers in school were all white. Everything that you hear on your documentary program were all coming from an English accent. Every politician in the White House and the White House itself, your so-called leaders. This is what this whole system is based upon. It's creating an idea that is psychologically programming you to think a certain way and for you to program your children. There's reasons behind all this shit. This is alchemy. This ain't checkers. This is fucking chess for your soul. And you have to sell your soul subconsciously to the system as a whole. Michael Jackson knew what was going on here. He was saying it over and over and over again. He said this on an award show. The press is manipulating everything that's been happening. They do not tell the truth. They are lying. They manipulate our history books. The history books are not true. It's a lie. The history books are lying. You need to know that. You must know that. He knew what the fuck was going on. He understood history. He's a very sharp intellectual being. He understood what was going on. He was projected into that world as a 5-year-old little boy, and he realized the depths of this storyline. And you better believe that he was faced with the choice of, am I going to keep going with this because I'll have to isolate myself and people will not be part of what I'm doing because it's too fucking dangerous to do that. It's dangerous to do that, and most people are scared. They're so caught up in the fear mentality, or just don't have the imagination to take that far, or the courage to take it that far, so they kind of just shy away and just keep it quiet. Michael Jackson was a bad motherfucker. He was out there doing it to his last breath, and this is why he was attacked and taken out of the conscious perspectives, and all his art. Everything gets tainted after they throw all these allegations on him and create this idea. This is what he was doing when in his Bad album. He was telling you, when you actually look at the lyrics and look at the albums and look in the symbolism, I'm going to give some examples here, but it's so far deeper than this. Like even in the Jam song, Look at he's speaking on the algorithm, the symbolism of basketball itself. Like there's a symbolism of the ring, like the hoop, the ring, the ball, the backboard, the courts, the teams, red and blue, the whole thing. There's symbolism there. He was speaking on this. You can understand when he was going into the Thriller album, he actually mentioned the occult. So this album, I'll get to this stuff in a second, but that in order. His bad album, like, why would you call it bad? Why? Because he's stepping out there saying I'm bad, meaning I'm not a part of this system. I'm gonna do what I gotta do to reveal this system. So you see Smooth Criminal, you see Man in the Mirror, you see Bad itself, you see at the end Leave Me Alone. He's speaking directly to the system as a whole, the media, the puppeteers. He's speaking directly to them. Look at the symbolism of Leave Me Alone, the pyramids, like all this shit that's in that. He was very, very smart. And this is why nobody's speaking about, or a lot of people don't speak about it. But I wanted to share this so people can reconnect with that essence that he was sharing and listen to his songs, the ones that weren't made famous. And then even the ones that they had to put out there in the pop world, because, and that's another way they label him the king of pop. That's another way to first co-opt his magic by making pop culture welcomed by, that's alchemy right there. That's saying, well, we're going to label you the king because you are the greatest, but you're going to be the king of pop. Well, that's just a double back, because pop is made to enslave the masses. That's what pop and mainstream culture is. So by labeling him the king of pop, they're actually shutting him down and building themselves up. So when this is an example of how the algorithm, even the algorithms of Google, are fucking with, his everything really. So this is his history album, and I was actually looking for disc 2, because I know disc 2 is the heavily coded disc, or the songs that are like, he put it on there, and you can see how he wrote his history. He wrote this on there to show you that this is how it's going on. So you can see on disc 1, when I just typed in Michael Jackson history songs, only disc 1 pops up. I can't go anywhere or find disc 2 unless I click on another actual site, and I'll go into there in a second. But if I type in disc 2, it won't even come up. Google doesn't show it. They won't even show it. They showed disc 1. You actually saw disc 1. But you have to actually click on Wikipedia, YouTube, some other thing. They don't care about disc 2. You know why? Because disc 2 is him screaming at the people. All the symbolism in the Scream album, when he had his sister Janet with him. And look at that symbolism there. The very next song, They Don't Really Care About Us, when you listen to that, he's shutting this shit down. Shutting it down. They don't really care about us. The so-called they, the so-called powers that be. He's putting it out there. With all the information he was sharing, you don't think they were going to try to throw some shit on him to make him look a certain way? To be perceived a certain way? Stranger in Moscow. This time around, Earth Song, one of the most controversial songs and videos that are out there. Super deep. Money. This is the song that's not even, these songs are not even made famous because they're too deep. Speaking about the fiat currency itself. Come Together. Tabloid Junkie. Morphine. These are the songs that don't get publicized, because then you'll start to realize that this whole system is fucked up. It's just jacked up. And this is what I consider to be his like tippy top of the game, the Dangerous album. And why you think he would call it dangerous? Is it dangerous to you? Is it dangerous to him? Is it dangerous to the system? When you look at the album, you'll see why. The coding, the symbolism, and Jam. And the lyrics. Read the lyrics of the song Jam. Read it. And see what he did to get people to focus on that video and that storyline, when he got Michael Jordan in there, when he got Michael the basketball focus on there, to the top two performers in the whole game, Michael Jordan and Michael Jackson, in one music video, basketball, and at that same time Space Jam, the cartoon movie, was coming out. He was doing this for the kids. So they just took that whole idea of the kids thing and then flipped it and sold it from the mainstream style to the Inquirer style to destroy. They used the destructive intelligence to overtake and destroy his creative intelligence. Because he was using his creative intelligence to take down the system as much as he can by sharing information with people to see what was really going on here. So you see Jam, why you want to trip on me? Remember the time. He got all those actors, Magic Johnson, all the actors, the black actors in Hollywood, in one music video. That was an event when Remember the Time and Black and White came onto the network television. Everybody was coming in to watch it. It was like a release of a new show or something like that. It was an event when Michael Jackson put out a video. And he knew that. So he used that to share the actual essence and storyline with people. You can see today there's none of this. And this is on purpose, because they used him. They co-opted his magic, called him the king of pop, and then killed him off, and then turned pop into the enslavement program that we are seeing today. And then you have these old low budget, second rate ass artists out there being pumped up by the system as if they are like this great thing. You got Miley Cyrus and all these Drake and fake ass people. Even the rap scene is just garbage. Garbage rap. Not even when you understand Tupac and Biggie, Nas, like all these it's ridiculous. It's watering everything down. Heal the world, black or white. Keep the faith. That's why this album is dangerous. That's why Michael Jackson was dangerous. That was fucking dangerous to do this. He's talking about the monkey mind. Look at this. The monkey being crowned. This is his dangerous album cover. This is the monkey. The monkey mind world. This is all that Joe Rogan shit defending the monkey evolution program. Him referencing the bubble in which we live right here. He could have been getting ready to release some flat earth or some earth information in the This Is It tour. I mean, what else could there be in reference to This Is It? I mean, he's trying to tell you something. There are people who have broken down this album cover so deep they've even split it in half and mirrored it against itself so you can see what's going on here. He's talking about angels and demons, the upside down world, the conveyor belt of garbage, death and destruction. You can see him as a child being projected into this reality. Black and white, animals, the sad clown, the happy clown. I mean, it goes on and on. This is a whole, you can spend hours and hours going into deciphering this whole album cover itself. This was a very, very intelligent being who was sending messages to the entire collective to see what was going on so they can start to reconnect and unveil this whole program. He knew this was about the world, the people. This is why he was putting these songs out there. And not many people are going to do that. Obviously, most people are just going to shut up and be a part of the system. This is where you get all this. This is why it doesn't even matter, all this Illuminati talking, all that bullshit. That's just another layer of icing on the cake. All that Illuminati shit. I just saw in the gym the other day that the movie Angels and Demons was on with Tom Hanks. And the only clip, I was only in there for a little bit of time, only watched a little bit. The only clip I saw in there was, you got Tom Hanks' ass running around trying to uncover some Illuminati. Keep saying Illuminati, Illuminati the entire time. And he's wearing a Mickey Mouse watch. Because that's Mickey Mouse understandings of this reality. That's the Mickey Mouse, that's the Disneyland game they want you to play. Is to focus on their game that they have set up for you to focus on, instead of empowering yourself to realize how deep this system goes by understanding who and what you really are. If you keep playing the reactionary emotional game and following the signs of this whole like fear mentality of the system itself, then you are playing Mickey Mouse. You are playing Disneyland. That is an illusion. Because you yourself have the power in your essence, in your genetic code. I would recommend checking it out. There's some videos. I'm sure there's more videos now. The last time I looked was like over a year and a half ago. Maybe longer than that. And there was already one where a guy had split this album cover down the middle and then mirrored it and then analyzed it and zoomed in and magnified everything. I would recommend checking it out. If you're interested in just seeing like more of what Michael Jackson was talking about, because it makes his music more rich. Like people can actually, like the connection, remember the connection that you had to Michael Jackson when you were a kid. Like his music does something to people, and there's an essence there. And then the opposite of that, you can see what music does. I don't even listen to new music today. I can't. It's not even considered music. It's basically like watching commercials now, or television. I literally cannot stand listening to the new kind of music. It's not at all interesting to me at all. In fact, it feels like eating a double Whopper with bacon value meal. That's what it feels like eating when I listen to music today. It's not music. It's junk food for your soul. It's ridiculous. So this was his last thing. He was going out. There was going to be a big thing, a 50 city tour or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but the name of it was This Is It. And he put the movie out talking about This Is It, and you can see the symbolism in there. One of the scenes is, he obviously does Earth Song. He does this is They Don't Really Care About Us, where he's talking about the police state. He expands upon Earth Song and the destruction of nature as a whole. I mean, he's going on and on and on. I mean, what else could he be talking about when he says This Is It? When you know that this was the album released after he passed. You can see the Saturn symbolism, the Saturnalian symbolism. This is all that occult symbolism that is used in all your movies, all your credit cards, your corporate logos, your everything. He was revealing all of this stuff. Escape, Saturn. This is what this program is based upon. This occult symbolism. And he was bringing it in everything. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's deep. Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson scream all that symbolism in that video, the lyrics to that video, goes on and on. Everybody knows the checkerboard and all that stuff. Blood on the dance floor. The dance floor is the city. He's talking about blood on the city. This is you. This is your blood, your kids, history. This is a symbolism of the conveyor belt on the Dangerous album cover. The factories, Skull and Bones, the rocket ship, the stars, the atom, the guns. All this stuff is connected. He layered everything in there. This is why he's not spoken about. So if people make videos and you're interested, please make a video about Michael Jackson stuff, because that would be like really intense. And like from my personal experience, when I started to look into this and reveal what was going on, it reactivated that connection to his music, and that connection to it like empowers you, and you feel a lot better, and you can, I mean, it's actual music. He was actually making real music. You can see when he did The Wiz, when he revamped The Wizard of Oz, and he played the Scarecrow, and then you can see all the symbolism of The Wizard of Oz. You see the symbolism of everything he was doing. Even in the Thriller album, like he says, due to my strong personal convictions, I wish to stress that this film is in no way endorses a belief in the occult. Even that, like him saying that, it gives people, like, I didn't even know what the occult was until like some years ago. And I'm like, it's very complex. Like you say, oh, I'm not talking about this. That means that you are talking about it, or at least want to shine some light on what it is, so people can know that it exists. Because if people start to know that the occult exists, then they'll start to unravel the alchemy, that the spells that individuals are under. But before that, if they don't know about it, then they'll just be subject to it. So that's how slick this is. He's very, very smart, very, very intelligent individual. So I would recommend looking into this, reconnecting with the music, reconnecting. If you're interested in looking in the symbolism, check it out. He was telling the stories of all this so-called conspiracy theory shit. Everybody talking about truthers and all this stuff. You want to talk about truth, start talking about the individuals who are already talking about this stuff. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. A lot of people are trying to reinvent the wheel in order to build themselves up. Right? No. Pay homage to the individuals that have already done and spoken on what and have been dedicating their entire lives to revealing what this is going on. This is not new. This is old and ancient. This goes on. Everything has been stolen. So like I said, when they called him the King of Pop, that's stealing Michael Jackson and making pop, getting the essence of Michael Jackson and installing it into pop. And what you are hearing now, rap, R&B, so-called rap and so-called soul and R&B and all the music of today, that's all pop. And it was built up by the co-opting of Michael Jackson. This is why they still call him the King of Pop, but they won't play his music like they do on a regular basis. They want you to be installed into an idea of reality, the transhumanism idea of reality. This is what this whole thing is, a separation program. This is why the whole LGBT and transgender stuff, the laws and talking about equality, they want to lock in the racism program with the separation program of the orchestrated separation program that is for the next agenda. They want to lock that together and talk and repackage it as peace and repackage it as unity and oneness. This is that artificial new age shit, because this is Greek. This is Greek and Roman civilizations trying to create what's normal for you from an idea through a perspective of their culture, their separation grids. It's not universal. It is the normalization program within the colonial grid that is inherently separating you from that which is natural. That's why they can't speak on the spirit or the soul in the university system, and this whole atheism program with university system and the Bill Maher's and all this shit out there, the mainstream pop culture. It's about separating you from nature and the soul and installing an unnatural, a normalization program. It's not universal. They will sell it to you as if it is, because they have this power of illusion. But if you empower yourself in the depths and the understanding of who you are, you will inherently disassemble it. This is why the whole African American thing was invented. That idea, you're not African. First of all, Africa is built up of so many countries. So that's an automatic separation because you don't know who you are. On top of that, you have the Aboriginal Americans, true Americans, the melanated people. You have the Native Americans and you have the Aboriginal Americans. Like you can understand the Aboriginal Australians. Those are deeply melanated people. But when you think about Australians, you think about Europeans. When you think about Americans, you think about Europeans. This is why they refer to the United States as America. It is not that. That is an illusion to empower itself and also to dumb down and make you forget that the melanated people had already been all over the earth plane. All over. The separation program of the globe model is to empower the idea of the colonial program in the European frame of thought that goes all the way up to this whole patriotism and we're Americans and Americans ain't to come together and do that. No, you are ultimately an immigrant. That exists, and then you have the copper-colored individuals, the melanated individuals, the essence of the Americas, the true power of the Americas, calling themselves African American or black to play the game of black and white, and subliminally being programmed to think that Americans are just the white, the Europeans. It's not. This is a mind control program. It's deeper than that. There's so many layers that we have to unravel and simultaneously empower within ourselves to realize what's going on here. These are what the Aboriginal Oakland, San Francisco Bay Area natives were. This is what the people, the Aboriginal people of that location. I mean, and that's just a representation of the Americas as a whole, including all of the Native Americans. We have our own style. Not saying everybody is all oneness like that. Like you can even understand it was a very complex system that we had. Very intelligent beings. Just in the Bay Area, there were like 20 something different languages. There was a language being spoken in San Jose that was different than the language being spoken in Oakland and San Francisco. Languages, like so many different people that were all working together and living together in harmony until the colonial program in the post-Columbian era of what these monkey evolution came about. And that whole African American idea was installed in order to separate people, to separate people from their true history, their true understanding, and also simultaneously empower the European involvement in bringing the so-called melanated people to the new world. It's like, no, that is a bad movie. It's a lie. In order to empower itself. It's ridiculous. And then you have these artificial royals walking around calling themselves royal because they stole, massacred, and genocided everything and everybody. Still falling underneath this fiat currency system, still falling underneath this maritime admiralty pirate system. And anybody and everybody who is falling into the box program of fighting this system instead of understanding it and sharing the information that's outside of this box is only empowering it. The information that exists in the hearts and the roots and the genetic codes of the people is what will actually disassemble this system. And then that will set the platform for what it is that we're going to do next. Because people get caught up in like, well, what are we going to do? Like, what are you do? First of all, stop doing what empowers the system and start doing what empowers yourself. Start with information and understanding of yourself and who and what you are and who and what everybody else is, and connect with the earth plane as a whole. Where are we? What are we? What is this? What's going on? What is consciousness? Why are we being programmed subliminally through music and movies and the transhumanism agenda, all this shit that's going on? Why is this stuff happening? Once you start answering all these questions, then your so-called solutions will start to present themselves and they will expand. And if everybody does it individually, it will start to make a collective portrait. It'll paint a collective portrait, and then we'll be able to expand from there. But first off, we have to at least start to remove this ridiculous version of reality that exists within this colonial, post-Columbian era program, this enslavement program. This is ridiculous. And reconnecting with your music, reconnecting with your true stories, understanding them, challenging yourself to understand yourself, the stars, the sun, the moon, the ancient civilizations, the cultures, everything. Truly understand, understand, and overstand all of these stories and continually expand and not have any expectations on yourself or other people or any judgments like that. This shit goes by too quickly, and we have so little time in our days really to be wasting it on adding density to our reality. Getting caught up in our emotions, getting caught up in the backwards programming. There's too much that we can be doing that involves expansion. And do this not for don't make it like a thing for yourself. Start to reroot yourself in the essence of this is for your future generations. This is for the kids. This is why Michael Jackson was doing that stuff in the music and saying everything about like, this is not for him. Like this body is not who we are. This is for the future generations to not have to deal with what the fuck we had to deal with. These kids need us to actually go into understanding what was going on and what is going on. Because if we don't do it, then that's going to add more weight. It'll just leave more shit for them to have to deal with in the future. And that's what pisses me off a lot of the time so much, is where these old school, a lot of the old schoolers, the old heads are just like, well, I did my thing, it's up to y'all now, it's up to you. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're still alive. You still have a brain, you still have a mind, you still feel things, you can still talk. You can still help out. I mean, this is a collective thing that we're doing here. So as we unveil these lies that are out there, we have to simultaneously reconnect with the truth, the true roots of our storylines. And you can do it. You can do it by any kind of out, wherever your imagination takes you. It's the best way to go. Instead of relying on somebody else to just tell you and, show you all this other stuff. Follow your own imagination. Do your own thing. It's the best way to do it. So I'll leave it there. And thank you for joining me. Until next time, from all my relations, peace, love, and harmony.